Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters. On the verge of a mental breakdown, a highly anxious man sets off on a multi-day hike through the New Zealand wilderness to clear his head. As his paranoia grows, other hikers become weary of him. He's cagey about his past and never sleeps, and his anxiety leads him to make some concerning claims. Far from society, he starts to question his own sanity before plunging into a bloody battle for survival. Yes, folks, this is my raw reaction review for Loop Track. What's going on, guys? Yes, it is me back here with another creature feature, this time coming from our friends over at Dark Sky Films. Yes, they set me up with a screener for this one, so thank you very much, guys, for giving me the opportunity to check out this highly anticipated New Zealand thriller. At least that's what they say in the post. This was actually one I didn't know much about. I just got the offer, like most of our kind of off the beaten path screeners, and yeah, you guys know me. Creature feature, I'm going to check it out. So getting into it, how do I feel about Loop Track? Well, it's interesting because on one hand, I don't think that it does a whole lot to serve itself as a creature feature. I think that, yes, there is elements of those films, but at the end of the day, if that is what you're coming here for, I really don't think that's what you're going to get out of this. At least I was able to kind of pull something from this, but I could really see people, especially going into this thinking, oh, we're going to see some kind of a monster or a beast or some kind of critter out here terrorizing these people for 90 minutes. It is not like that. It is much more psychological. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a creature of some sorts, but it might just not pan out the way that you're hoping. Getting into some of my likes here, this is a film written, starring, and directed by Thomas Sainsbury here. He definitely is wearing a lot of hats, and I think he does it pretty well. His character is, as it said in the opening there, very anxiety-filled. He is cagey. He is very untrustworthy, is the sense that I got through most of this, because they don't tell you really ever what is the reason for him being just so odd and so out of place amongst just people. He really just seems like your average introvert, but clearly going through some shit. Apart from him, we have Hayden J. Wheel, who plays the character of Nikki, who I did think brought a lot of charisma and a lot of energy to the film. That is one thing that I have to compliment about New Zealand when it comes to, just their filmmakers and just the kind of energy that they bring to each project. I think about over here in the States, we really idolize like Taika Waititi, but this again, just the energy, the kindness, the jokiness, the cadence of these people. It is truly something as just a dumb American myself that I can latch onto and really love. So yeah, the film definitely scores bonus points for me in that aspect. Another aspect is definitely the setting of this film. I mean, it's another movie, a horror film, takes place in the wilderness, but not just any wilderness. We're not talking about just, West Virginia, the usual shit that we see here in the States. No, we're talking about the New Zealand wilderness, and it's basically to us like a jungle. And it is very interesting. It is very gorgeous. And they do a lot with it. They definitely are trying to kind of play with your mind a little bit. Again, this is a psychological thriller. And it is one of those things where you think you see things in the distance, but they don't make it clear. And when it comes to the third act and why that is, it makes sense. But it does kind of hinge on the fact of, I don't necessarily know if I buy that entirely, especially with once that reveal happens, if that would just be something that would be able to conceal itself so well. But I digress. The setting is gorgeous. They make great use of it. And, for a film that we've seen this concept done 100 times of hikers hiking through the woods, they do a lot with it. And they manage to build some good suspense, some good intrigue, and some good characters along the way. Unfortunately, that's really where my last positives lie with this film. I need to kind of get into a little bit more of the meat of this third act in order to kind of get into why I think this thing lost me as we kind of went into the climax. Mind you, I will be keeping this still spoiler free, so you don't have to worry about that. But I just need to kind of go a little bit more detailed. And to start things off, this film does pose a lot of questions. Again, the character of Ian, our main protagonist here, there's a lot of questions surrounding him, and I just feel like we never fully get resolution with his character on just about any of the things that they set up. And, for some that's interesting. I think that that left me a bit dissatisfied as just kind of hinging on the characters, like I said, being one of the real bright spots of this. It was just tough and a little disheartening to go through this entire journey and not really figure out exactly what his deal was. The other thing that I have to level at this film is that, yes, although it bills itself as a psychological thriller with creature feature elements, those creature feature elements, they don't come until way late into the game. Like, we're already deep into the third act before we really find out what's going on. And it's just one of those things where once you actually see it and the intrigue is gone, I really see a lot of people being like, really? That's it, huh? That's the whole thing that we were building up to. Because trust me, it's interesting. It's damn right unique as far as any other kind of creature feature like thing I've seen recently. I can't think of another film that's used this kind of a concept, but it's not the best use or the best, I guess, avenue to go when you've built this much tension and this much intrigue. Again, that's just really tough to get out there without just outright saying it, but it did leave me kind of disappointed. But at the end of the day, I did travel through this film. I did get to enjoy the characters, enjoy some of the witty dialogue. The setting is beautiful. I mean, there are elements to really enjoy about this movie, but I think as creature feature fans, this is not one that you really need to sit down and watch. As people who are fans of psychological thrillers, it's interesting, but again, you're not going to get much resolution. Now, if you're into that kind of thing and you want to speculate on exactly what's going on and how this, whole thing works and what everything that happens to these characters and why it happens, by all means, go ahead and travel into it. But for me, I think that this, although not the worst thing that I've seen in a while, and certainly, not the most boring thing I've seen, like I said, it does keep my interest. I just think that the lack of resolution and the lack of payoff when it comes to that final act, it leaves you kind of sitting here with a bit of a nothing burger. With that, though, it was such a breezy watch that I can't sit here and say that this is a slash it, but it's certainly a proceed with caution. I definitely think that, if you're interested in this seems like something you want to see. As always, check it out for yourself and report back here. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on it. But yeah, I ultimately think that it's just going to leave too many questions on the table, not enough satisfaction, which is, again, a disappointment because overall it's a beautifully shot film, it's well acted, and there's definitely potential from our writer, director, actor here. So yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up here for me for Loop Track. Let me know if you guys are going to check this one out, if this is one that's been on your radar, if this is one you just heard of because of my review. If you've seen the film, let's talk about it down in the comments. Of course, if it's been a while, you may start using spoilers, but if it's recent, try to stay away from it. We don't really want to dive too deep into it, but yeah, I'd really like to know some people's opinions on, again, that very unique approach to the creature feature element of this film. So that's all I got for this one, guys. As always, check out the stuff we have up on the channel. We got a lot of great videos up right now. We've been diving into doing a little bit more current news stuff throughout the week, not just sticking it to Sunday Scaries, as well as, I've been going through the Monsterverse with their new show Monarch, and I've been going through each and every week breaking down spoilers for all of the episodes as they release. And yeah, that's gonna about wrap everything up here for me. So until next time, guys, I'm Dylan Newell, and remember, stay scared.